I'm Tom Vassell. Welcome to the 12 Games of Christmas series of videos that we're doing here in the Dice Tower. We have 10 different videos where we talk about various games that you can buy for other people and give them great Christmas gifts. Today we're talking about solo games, games that are good for a single player. A single player can also sit around and watch videos. We want to mention our sponsor for this video, Above Board TV, where you can go watch. We have a YouTube channel. They also have a YouTube channel. Let's Comedy and Board Games. They have a new role-playing show that they're doing called Dungeon Call. And in this series, there's a lot of different players playing through a live role-playing game with people who are fun at comedy and will have a great adventure. So you should go check them out. You should also check them out when they're playing a board game while covered in bees. That's right, folks. There's a link in the video description here where you can go and watch them play a game like Covered in Bees. And if you comment on that video, you'll be entered into a contest. You can win, 10 winners are going to win a board game shipped to them from Amazon in the continental US for $50 or less, and you get to pick the game. And one lucky winner is going to get flown out to LA for 2 days or 2 nights and 3 days, and even be in an Above Board TV video. So good luck. I hope you win the contest. And also, I hope you like to play games by yourself, because that's what we're talking about today, solo games. This is a new category. We haven't had this in past years, but I thought it was important because enough people are playing games by themselves. So these are games, whether they're made for one person or have a one-person single-player mode that works really well. That's what we're talking about. So let's get started.
First up in our solo category is going to be 20 Strong, coming to you from Chip Theory Games. Now, this is more of a game system. There's a lot of different themes within this system. So you will need the core deck for 20 Strong, but from then you can choose a deck that is going to be of interest to the person you're buying for. So if they really like fairy tales, there's one for that with a Tanglewood deck. If they like some of the other Chip Theory games that like Hoplomachus, for example, you can get the Hoplomachus deck and they can play in that world. So they're going to have that familiarity with the characters as well. Ultimately, you're going to be rolling dice and attributing those dice, taking hits as you're trying to take down monsters, but trying to go through this deck to make it safely to the end. 20 Strong is, again, a great choice for people who are familiar with Chip Theory games, or if you're just looking for that higher component quality little game that can travel well because it's small, check out 20 Strong.
Next up, I'm recommending Witchcraft. This is from originally Salt and Pepper Games and distributed as well wider in markets by 25th Century. And it's also based off of the previous game, Resist, which one I don't know if that one is in as many markets, but either one you get's great. In Witchcraft, well, in both, you have a deck of cards representing your group, your coven of witches in this case, and you're trying to complete different tasks. You are trying to protect yourselves, but you're also trying to protect your town and not get outed as witches. But you're still trying to save them from bad monsters. It's a great little perspective to play from. You play out these characters that have different powers. And you're trying to complete missions, but at some point you're going to have to play the stronger side of a card, which sounds great, until you know that you are sacrificing that person, removing them from your deck, and they're outed. So it has a lot of tension, has a lot of character. Albert Monte's wonderful illustration really brings this one to life. That's Witchcraft.
Dark Tomb is a dungeon in your pocket style game. And in fact, there are several versions of it, and they're all compatible with each other. One of them is Bloodthorn Island. And this is a game where you and the monsters are all cubes. Everything's really small, and you can pick a character in this game, and you're going to take different actions and move on cards, revealing a new card. And like I said, since all these games are compatible with each other, you can mix and match. You'll find items, and you will fight monsters. And that's it. It's simple, and it's pretty fast. Some dungeon crawlers can be pretty long and involved, but Dark Tomb is in a small tin. It can slide right into your pocket. It's easy to pull out and play. You're on an airplane and you want to play a dungeon crawl? Well, Dark Tomb is for you. Traveling and you're in a hotel at night and you just have that little desk that's too small for someone to sit at, you can play the game there, or just in your home. And so I like the Dark Tomb line for that. It's very basic, almost not generic strategy, but easy to understand with the different themes, and you just jump in and play. So if you like dungeon crawls, but you want something very simple, very easy to pull out, and it's going to be different each time because the direction the rooms all connect and you have no idea what's going to be on the next card, makes it a lot of fun. So that's Dark Tomb.
Next up, we have Legacy of You. Legacy of You is a one-player only resettable campaign game, meaning that you can play through the entire campaign. You can kind of reset the cards to how they were in the beginning, and you could play through it again, and things will play out differently because of certain random elements that are in the game, set up and things along those lines. It's a game where you are trying to build canals to stay ahead of a ever increasing flood. And so you're always having to deal with the flood. You're also having to deal with barbarian tribes who are trying to encroach into your area and cause damage there. And so what you're going to be doing is a lot of what they call resource management, where you're going to have particular resources that you are getting throughout the game, and then you're going to be converting those resources into other things that will help you to progress further. It also has a self-balancing aspect to it, where if you lose a game, you'll get something that will help you in further games, and if you win a game, you'll get something that could potentially hamper you. There are going to be story elements that are brought in throughout the game, and so no two playthroughs are going to be exactly the same. It has a good level of challenge, but with that balancing system, you can always progress forward in the story. A really solid solo game that is Legacy of You.
For Northwood is a single-player trick-taking game, which is a crazy idea. And in it, you are thematically having these conversations with leaders from different lands. You are going to be playing cards from a deck of cards and then following that suit, trying to steer the conversation, if you would, where you want it to go. You want to have things run out at the right time, specific decks of cards. And if you do convince this leader to work with you, well, you'll earn them as a special ability, and you can use that to talk to another leader. It's a very clever game, works very simply, but cleverly, and you have to manage how you win and when you win and how you push your luck in order to come out on top. It looks like a kid's game, but it's anything but. That is for Northwood.
Up next is Siege of Valeria. This is one of the Valeria games that's solo only, and I think was maybe a little bit overlooked, but honestly, possibly one of my favorites in the series. This one, you are trying to protect your town from a horde of invaders, and they represent cards moving down towards you, and they are relentless. If you're familiar with the other Valeria games, it has little notches or nods to previous things. Blue is magic and red is fight strength, things that work well together, but you are trying to accumulate enough strength to protect yourself, last long enough, and then take out the end of the horde there that's invading in. There's a lot of tough choices, but a lot of clever things. And there's also a small campaign expansion box that you can get, but just the base game alone is a lot of fun. That's Siege of Valeria.
Skoventyr is a game based on Danish folklore in which you are going to be trying to defeat the main baddie of the story without being defeated yourself by their 6 minions. And you're going to be doing that by collecting the right cards, by moving in a circle, making sure that that character moving behind you doesn't catch up to you and trap you and finish you off. So it has this push your luck, this tension-filled rotation around the table in which you want to make sure that you keep the trees healthy, that the characters you are collecting will work for you, and deciding when it's okay to push your luck, when you can risk something and still come out of the other end alive. So that is the game. It's very beautiful. It has a lot of gorgeous artwork in it, and like I said, steeped in this Danish folklore. That is Skoventyr.
Next up, we have Batman, The Dark Knight Returns. And this game is a no-brainer for anybody on your list that loves solo games and likes Batman. Even more so if they like this particular run of the Batman comic known as The Dark Knight Returns. This was a very famous kind of little section of Batman comic history where an older, more wizened, but also more beat down Batman has to take another final kind of run through the Gotham City baddies, okay? And so in this game, you're going to be doing a number of different things. You're going to be using cards. You're going to be rolling these especially batarang themed dice that look like little batarangs. You've got a dry erase board that's going to represent different parts of Gotham City that you're moving around on, and you might be able to create new paths to make different parts of the city more accessible to you. You are going to be battling against some iconic Batman villains like Two-Face and Joker, and you're also going to be using your companion Robin to help you in through some of these missions. You're going to have vehicles, some classic Batman vehicles that you also can be utilizing. So for any fan of Batman, particularly this era of Batman that also loves a good solo game, you've got it right here with Batman: The Dark Knight Returns.
For one of the recommendations that's a little more strange, there's Paperback Adventures from Fower Games. This is a cool one. It's a roguelite spelling game. You're going to be playing as a character. You're trying to create use your hand of cards to create an interesting word that will give you different powers to fight against the enemy, the mini-boss and then the main boss. You are doing this over multiple rounds, trying to level up and strengthen your character, trying to last 3 mini-bosses and 3 big bosses, so 6 big fights. This game has things that I've not seen in other games. You can splay your cards in different ways for more offensive, more defensive powers. It's about reading the enemies that you're fighting, but also working with a hand of word and letter cards. So this is definitely one of the more unique things. You buy a core box, and you can buy one of the 3 boxes for enemies that have a theme that you enjoy. They're all very fun. This is Paperback Adventures.
Okay, so the next game is kind of a dungeon crawler / roguelite, and that is Dead Cells. Dead Cells is based on a video game, a rogue video game. And the whole thing is, it's beautiful artwork, first off, and it looks great on the table. The components are great in both editions of this. But the whole thing is, you're beheaded, and you're trying to go through these different biomes. And as you do, it's going to be difficult, and you're going to die. When I first heard that, I thought, oh, well, I could probably win. You cannot. You will die. But the great thing about this is, as you die, you kind of level up and you get stronger. So you're going to go through the same levels, but you're going to have better equipment, better cards, and you're going to be able to survive longer as you go through those biomes. And also, you may have things that allow you to take different tracks. So instead of going down here, you're going to go up here to a brand new biome. And you're going to level up more and more. And this gives that great feeling of what a video game does. It really captures that, because you're like, at first you feel so weak, and then later you're just railing through things and you feel good, and you keep running back and leveling yourself up. This is great. Dead Cells, I don't know the IP, I haven't played the video game, but the board game is definitely recommended.
In Final Girl, you are a lone survivor in a classic horror film, trying to avoid your pursuer and even trying to seek vengeance against the bad guy who slays your friends. You add any movie pack into the base game and the plot shifts while also giving you a choice on which Final Girl to play. In Final Girl, the solo player picks actions by playing card. Walk around the camp, save potential victims, search for items, rest, attack the bad guy, or eat milk and cookies. Okay, maybe not milk and cookies, but the other actions can also affect the horror meter, helping to bring about or avoid a messy ending. Actions cost time and require a die roll to check their effectiveness. Purchase new, better action cards with unused time so that you can defeat the villain before you are found and killed, giving you a very long, silent night.
Gloomhaven, Buttons and Bugs. Gloomhaven from Cephalofair is a big, giant dungeon crawl game that has sold so very well. A game in using cards to go through this dungeon that appealed to people who like Euro games and people who just like kicking a door down and fighting monsters. But now they've made a new version of it, which comes in a box I can hold in my hand, called Buttons and Bugs, and the theme of it is you get shrunk down from the Gloomhaven game, and now you're fighting some bugs and other people who've been shrunken down like yourself. It is a little tiny game, but it has a lot of the feel of the bigger Gloomhaven game. You're going to have cards, you have different characters. There's quite a bit of content in this box, and it's sort of a puzzle that uses a die to pick how your cards will be modified, but you're going to use magic spells and different kinds of attacks to fight the different insects and other creatures on each of these cards. It's very simple to set up and easy to play. That's Gloomhaven, Buttons and Bugs. Well, there you go, folks. That is 12 games to play, to buy for someone for Christmas, whether it's you or someone else. We tried to pick games that you could find all over the internet. Of course, games go in and out of stock at all times, so definitely, if you're interested in one of these, check today. And if you can't find it, check again next week. Playing games by yourself on a table in front of you is something that's more of a modern trend, but it is a lot of fun. So if you've never tried it, these are 12 games that I think you might want to try. So anyway, until next one of these, and we have 9 other lists of these games, 2 players, thematic games. Check them all out in the 12 Games of Christmas. Thanks again to our sponsors, Above Board TV. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and we'll see you all on the Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you, and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.